Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from rainy Costa Rica. Today's topic is going to be why you don't explain yourself to the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Guys, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So explaining yourself, what is this? It's when you feel the need to report to somebody or explain yourself or your circumstances or situation or what has transpired, whatever it is, to another individual. Example, in the workplace, your boss who turns out to be a toxic narcissist or a workplace bully, they're always asking you for explanations, aren't they? They're always asking you why the report isn't there on time, why you use that certain font, why you didn't have double spacing, who approved it, things like that. They're micromanaging. That's what they do. Not everybody, but if you have a toxic boss in the workplace, you know what I'm talking about. And many times in that workplace, you will find yourself explaining yourself. And what happens is, after you've experienced the toxic workplace bully and you've explained yourself a few times, you kind of get groomed. And then what you do is you offer up explanations for what you did, when you did it, why you did it, how much resources you used, what you did with your time, and on and on and on. And what does the narcissist or workplace bully like? They gobble this up because now you are a pawn in their game. And all they had to do was groom you to get you to explain yourself. Now, let's fast forward again to another narcissistic relationship. Let's say it is a spouse or a romantic interest, as an example. Same thing. Throughout the relationship, let's say in the beginning, the love bomb / euphoric stage, remember the narcissist wore a mask and they manipulated you and tricked you and trapped you, perhaps even having you fall in love with them when in fact they weren't in love with you because the narcissist can't fall in love. Remember, they just glom onto you. And they want you to need them when in fact it's them who need you. It's true. That's probably for a different video. And again, for those of you who have recently ended the relationship and or have been discarded, my heart goes out to you. Understand that in time, in your time, you will heal properly with due diligence, with becoming awakened and aware and understanding exactly what the narcissistic abusive cycle is about. But getting back on track, using that romantic relationship as an example, well, after the euphoric stage, what happens is you enter the devaluation stage, which is the narcissistic fog. That's exactly where the narcissist has placed you. And one of the aspects of you being consumed by the narcissistic fog, I should say, is explaining yourself to the narcissist. Let's dig into that one. You went to the store, you bought the whole thing, all the items on the list that was presented to you to buy. Remember, you are nothing but a servant, a pawn for the narcissist. Whether you had and or have a wedding ring on or not, it matters not one bit. What matters is that you're a pawn to them and you just didn't know it. But my hope is you either A, are understanding it now, or B, are removing yourself and or have removed yourself from the relationship, because the narcissistic relationship only benefits one person and it's not you. But getting back to that list at the grocery store, yes, you had a grocery list and you got everything on the list. You came back home, you unfolded the items or brought the items out of the bags, whatever it is, and lo and behold, you bought the wrong bread or the wrong peanut butter, or the pizza has mushrooms on it when it's supposed to have pepperoni. What is going on here? Well, what's going on is you now find yourself explaining yourself to the narcissist. It's just one small example out of virtually tens of thousands of examples. But the narcissist wants you walking on eggshells. They want you explaining themselves to you. And of course, remember, the narcissist is not accountable. So they don't have to explain themselves to you. When you ask a question for them, like, why'd you do that? What's going on here? Like, you're going to get radio silence. You're going to be gaslit. You're going to be being told it's none of your business. Why do you care so much? Pay attention to yourself. You're so unstable. Like, look at you. You can't even make a decision. Things like that. That's another one. The narcissist doesn't want you to have the ability to make your own decisions. Keep in mind, before you met the narcissist, you were a functioning individual on this planet called Earth, and I'm sure you were doing great. You met the narcissist. They saw that you perhaps were a people pleaser, a yes person, had no boundaries, or couldn't say the magic word no, which is the strongest word in the English language, and they said, oh my gosh, this one, which turned out to be you, is a rare one. I can really manipulate this person and extract all the resources that they have, and I can have them doubting themselves and explaining themselves to me. Yes, that is exactly what happens. Keep in mind, the narcissist wants to put themselves high in the pedestal, and they want you way down in the quagmire, so you are working for them, literally and figuratively. So you're trying to get back to that euphoric stage, that stage of happiness when everything was puppies and rainbows, when in fact it really wasn't. It was just a period of time. The narcissist wore the mask to manipulate you until they realized that they had you captured and they had you under their thumb, and that no longer would you be going anywhere because you are now stuck to the narcissist. In other words, you've fallen in love, or you've fallen in the trap of the narcissistic abusive cycle. And what is the narcissist doing once they realize that you actually have fallen for them, let's say, in the romantic relationship? Well, what they do then is they now begin to devalue you and they look for your replacement. And that's exactly what they do, because they realize that one of three things will happen when you're in the relationship with them. One, you're going to wise up and you're going to realize you're not being treated properly, and you're not going to want to keep on explaining yourself to them because it gets quite tiresome. It really does. You shouldn't have to explain yourself to anybody. But that's number one. Number two, they will discard you when you are at your lowest point and your resources are depleted. Or C, you will exist in the narcissistic fog, which is not a place I suggest anybody be for any period of time. But we were all there at one point if you're on the channel. And again, thank you very much for being here. Having said that, the narcissist always needs supply. And it's not just from you. Whether you think it was only from you exclusively or you're certain it wasn't. The narcissist gets supply from social media, from neighbors, from friends, from colleagues, from business associates, from complete strangers, yes, from animals. It doesn't matter. They get supply from anything, from events, from clothes, from money, you name it. So whereas if you were in a stable relationship with an individual, again, let's use the romantic relationship. It doesn't have to be, but let's use it. Well, then you have two people that are working towards the same goals and the same dreams and aspirations. And yes, there will be bumps in the road. But my hope is that you fight through them and you agree to disagree at times, but you don't point the finger at always, and you don't have a partner, let's say, who is unaccountable, who can't introspect, who can't say, I was wrong, I apologize, you were right. Classic words. I'll bet you never heard any of those because you didn't. And if you did, they weren't heartfelt or genuine from the narcissist. But having said that, then all those things happen. And the narcissist is looking for your replacement because eventually that relationship that you were in or are in, it has an expiration date, just like every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. And I don't say that lightly. It's a fact, because you can only tolerate so much abuse, manipulation, deceit, lies, and destruction before something has to give. Before you physically will give, meaning your body's breaking down. Perhaps you had to have knee surgeries or other surgeries. Maybe your hair's falling out, you developed a skin rash, who knows. Another way, maybe you lost your social circle or your job or your status. Another way the narcissist will take advantage of you is they're gonna isolate you from your family and friends. They're gonna have you doubting yourself. They're gonna have you explaining virtually everything about you to them, kind of like a drill sergeant would do. I am not making fun of this, it's what happens. And the more you explain to the narcissist, number one, listen to what I'm about to tell you, the less they care, because they know that you're subservient to them, and all they're going to do is just gather information from you, because they know with a text or a quick phone call or a look or a silent treatment, whatever it is, that you're going to cave in and you're going to give them what they want, which is you sharing your information with them or explaining yourself. So that's how the narcissistic relationship works in a nutshell. Now, post-narcissistic relationship, many times people still feel the need. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you're going through a separation. Maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's a business colleague or something. But you still feel that you need to explain yourself to the narcissist. You don't. You absolutely shouldn't. And again, like I mentioned on the channel, virtually every video, my hope is you've gone no contact with the narcissist, deleted them, blocked them, and removed all flying monkeys and people associated with the narcissist, and you've closed the chapter of that book and you're moving forward. If you can't do that, because sometimes it's not as easy to do as it is to say, then my hope is each and every day you are moving forward and taking logical, healthy steps to protect and insulate yourself. I understand that we're all on the same healing path, headed in the same direction, just taking different footsteps, which is a fact. So some people can do some things, some people can't do things. In other words, some people have kids. Some people are living in the same house. Some people are in the same city or environment. For some people, it's a relative, meaning maybe it's a brother, sister, mom, dad, aunt, uncle. Who knows? But my hope is you're getting the wisdom, you're getting the education, and you are having a plan, and you're putting a plan in place to insulate yourself, protect yourself, to begin to live your best life, and to put the narcissistic relationship in the past. So explaining yourself to the narcissist post-narcissistic relationship, or let's say you're trying to get out of it, does it benefit you? No. It's like you're just spinning your wheels. You're on that, you're just You're talking to a wall. You're talking to literally somebody who does not care about what you say other than to weaponize the information against you at a later date. That's one thing. But another thing is, if you're explaining yourself to them, you're still putting yourself in a lower position, meaning you are subservient to them. Now, I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you. Maybe you need to explain certain things to them because there are certain things that happen. But my hope is if you're doing that, that they're explaining things to you. And I'm certain they are not explaining things properly to you like you would explain to them. So why I'm mentioning this in the thumbnail in the video is to let you know that if you feel that you need to explain yourself to anybody, whether it's a narcissist or not, you don't. You just don't, unless you made a grave error or a mistake. And of course you need to clean it up, then you do it. But on a day-to-day basis, explaining to an individual where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, when you're coming home, what shampoo you use, did you cut your hair, what peanut butter you bought, like, no, there's no reason to do that. But that's exactly where the narcissist wanted you when you were in the relationship, in any capacity. Same thing with the neighbor. You know, the neighbor, you come home after work, it's 5 o'clock on a Friday, and sure enough, the neighbor hears your car, so they walk out because they hear your car, but they're acting like they're taking the trash out or something, or they hear you put your key in the apartment and they know you're home. Lo and behold, there's a knock on your door a couple minutes later, and you're like, what is this? I just got home. I just want to relax and exercise or get some food or whatever. And then they'll just drum up some nonsense, and they will say like, well, let's use the house example. They'll be like, hey, you know, your trash can, the wind knocked your trash can over and it knocked all the trash in my yard, and I'd appreciate it if you pick it up. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, what is this? Like, what do you mean? Like, and then you find yourself explaining yourself to that person. Like, well, I wasn't home. See what I'm trying to explain? You don't have to explain anything to anybody. You don't. And because once you explain yourself to somebody once, unless, like I said, unless you made a mistake and you need to clear it up. But in the narcissistic relationship I'm referring to, the more you explain to the narcissist, the more you go down in that quicksand, and the more that they are sitting there internally laughing at you. They really are. And they're trying to wind you up and to keep you doing that and to keep you doubting yourself and not believing in your truth, but rather believing in the false truth and the false rhetoric of the narcissist. Guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from beautiful Costa Rica. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great evening. Stay true, stay blessed. Continue to become awakened and aware, and understand you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. You need to have goals. You need to have something to look forward to. You need to not explain anything to anybody other than yourself. Now, if you want to explain things to people, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you feel the need, or you feel that you are obligated to explain behaviors, mannerisms, what you did, why, when, where, or with whom, to an individual, that's not right. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be living your best life and answering to yourself, not to a toxic, manipulating narcissist. So guys, again, have a great evening. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you. Have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, good night, you guys.